Hi everyone and welcome back to another video of IGCSE Math Preparation Series. My name is Irfan and today we're gonna talk about variation. So as you know, this topic belongs to the extended curriculum. So for those of you who are planning to sit for the core paper, I suggest you to skip this video. And for the rest of you guys, you can sit tight and let's start this lesson. It's gonna be a very short lesson because this topic is not that long. We're gonna talk about direct variation first. So in some scenarios, two quantities, they varies together in the same proportion, meaning which if X, let's say I have two quantities, X and Y. So let's say you double the X, as a result, Y is gonna be doubled as well. Or if you tripled the X, same thing happens to Y. Or if you half the X, right, again, same thing happens to Y. So in these scenarios, we say there is a proportionality between X and Y, but that is a direct proportionality. In other words, X is directly proportional to Y. So I just said it in words, but how do we express it in the world of mathematics? Well, there is a symbol like this, which we call it the proportionality symbol, right? And all you have to do is just put the quantities or the variables on its two sides. So this thing right here, it indicates that there is a direct proportionality between X and Y. However, this is not really useful because it just shows the relation between X and Y, between these two quantities. It's not a formula. It doesn't really help me to solve anything. So if you want to convert this to a formula, in other words, if you want to get rid of this proportionality symbol and convert it to an equality symbol, you have to multiply the right-hand side by a constant. So that constant, I'm going to use the letter K to represent that constant. Now, it seems that we have made progress because now this is a formula, but we have a new problem because instead of two unknowns or two variables, I have three unknowns. So I just made it worse. However, this K, which is the constant of proportionality, we call this constant of proportionality. You can find a value for that if a condition is provided to you. For example, in the question, they say X and Y are directly proportional, and when X is 20, Y is 30. And then they ask you to write a statement expression which actually shows the relation between X and Y. So all you have to do, since in the question they mention X is directly proportional to Y, the first thing you have to write is this, and then you convert it to equality. Don't forget to add the constant of proportionality on the right-hand side. And now you're going to apply this condition in order to find K. Just replace the value of X and Y, and that helps you to find K, which is 2/3 basically. So I found K. So I go back to this equation or this formula, which I just found, and substitute the value for K. Now, this is a useful formula because usually in the second part of the question, they say, okay, find X when Y is, for example, 60. Okay, now that you have this formula, which shows the relation between X and Y, all you have to do is just substitute Y and obtain the value for X on the left-hand side. So 2/3 times 60, which basically gives me 40, right? So that's how you solve a question regarding direct variation. So the first thing you have to do is to form the relation and then actually put the constant of proportionality on the right-hand side and find the constant of proportionality using the information provided to you in the question. and then you can solve any type of question. If x is unknown, you can find y. If y is unknown, you can find x, right? That would be an easy task to do. Another type of variation that we have is inverse variation. For example, the force of attraction between two particles, they are inversely proportional to the distance between them. I believe that's the Newton's law, right? This equation, you will actually learn it in A-level physics. So it basically says that the force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance. In other words, the less of this distance, the more of the force of attraction between these two masses. This is one example of inverse variation. So how does it work? Maybe you can already guess from what I have written here. Again, let's say we have two quantities, x and y, and the relation between them is inverse, not direct. So the proportionality symbol is there. However, I don't put y here. I put the reciprocal y. Now, what does that mean? It means if x is increased, y is decreased. Or if y is increased, x is decreased. That's what inversely proportional means. We have to do the same thing here. If you want to convert this to equality, you just have to multiply the right-hand side by k. So k goes in the numerator, and we still have y in the denominator. So this is a formula, but you have to find k in order to solve any further questions. Again, in the question, they say x and y are inversely proportional. And if x is 20, y is 40. So find y when x is 10. Okay. So this is the first part of the question. This is the second part. In the first part, or the condition part, helps us to find the value for k. So let's replace these values. So if this is the formula, then k is nothing but xy, and x is 20, y is 40, so I get 800. Now, the new formula, the new version of the formula is actually x is equal to 800 over y. So now they want us to find y when x is 10. Make y the subject of the equation, and x goes down. If x is 10, you just replace it there, and the answer is 80. As simple as that. Okay, so same approach as direct variation. You just have to form the relation, then add k to the right-hand side, and then find the value of the k with the information provided to us. So let's do some examples. Here it says y is directly proportional to the square root of x. Okay, that's basically the relation between x and y. And they ask us to complete this table. Okay, so what we need to do is to find k first. I can do that by rewriting this relation as a form of equation. So I have k square root of x, right? And k is equal to y over square root of x, right? And I already have one value of x and y. So all you have to do is just substitute them here. And that gives me 4 over 2, which is 2. So k is 2. So if k is 2, let's get back here. This formula becomes y is equal to 2 square root of x. Now you can complete these gaps actually here in the table. So let me fill up those spots. Okay, first thing, if x is 16, you substitute it here, y equals to 2 square root of 16, which is 2 times 4, and that is 8. So same thing, 2 square root of 25. So that would be 2 times 5, which is 10. Again, square root of 36 is 6 times 2, 12. Square root of 64 is 8 times 2, and that is 16, right? As simple as that. The first thing I did was to find constant of proportionality. So I'm going to do the same thing here. You convert this proportionality symbol to equality. In other words, make this a formula. However, the k should go on the numerator. So now I can find k by simply multiplying x and y, right? These two. So one condition is provided to me. I can find k by substituting in the value of x and y. So k is found to be 20. So if k is 20, go back to this formula again and rewrite it this time with the value of k, which is 20. And now x is provided, we need to find y. So I don't need, because y is already the subject of this equation, so I don't need to rearrange this. Just substitute the value of x one by one. X is 2, 20 over 2 is 10, right? So this is 10. So when x is 3, 20 over 3, which is basically 6.6 with a repetition of 6, you can round it up or you can leave it as a fraction. I think it's okay if we leave it as a fraction. Okay, 4, 20 divided by 4, 5, 20 divided by 5, 4, right? As simple as that. So nothing tricky here, but let's see how you will be asked from this topic in the real paper. Let's go and take a look at some past year paper question. Okay, yeah, I have some past year paper question for you guys. Without any further ado, let's do this together. So maybe you can grab your calculator and try to solve this with me. We have two unknowns, m and x. M varies directly. So you have to take a note of this word, because if they say directly, immediately, you don't need to make the reciprocal of the second quantity. However, it's not directly proportional to x, it's directly proportional to the cube of x, not cube root, but cube. So this is the relation between m and x, okay? And then convert it to a formula. Now, this is the statement that I told you, the condition, right? This is the condition given. Help us to find k. So k is m over x cubed. M is 200. X is 2, so 2 cubed, and 200 over 8, that gives me 25. So I found k. Now the formula is m is equal to this formula, just substitute k, m equals to 25 times x cubed. Now I can solve any types of question regarding m and x, right? If one of them is provided, in this case, x is provided, and I have to find m. So just substitute, x is 0.4 raised to the power of 3. So the answer is actually 1.6 right there, 1.6. As simple as that, it carries 3 marks. So next question, we have y and x, and it's again directly proportional. So y is directly proportional not to x, but to the square root of x plus 2. So I have to write this radical, and x plus 2 must go beneath that, all of it. So don't put the 2 outside. It's the square root of this whole thing. So that's the relation, and then you convert it to a formula which gives us you just have to multiply the right hand side by k. Now I can find k by dividing y by the square root of x plus 2. Now with the help of this condition which is given to us, I can find the value of k. So k is equal to, if y is 2 and x is 7, I get basically 2 over 3, right? Square root of 9 is 3. So k is 2 over 3. Go back to this formula which you found and substitute the value of k. We get square root of x plus 2. If x is 98, find y. So I don't need to rearrange this formula because y is already the subject of the equation. I just have to do a simple substitution, that's all. Square root of 100 basically, right, which is 10, and that the answer is 20 over 3 or 6.7 if you round it to 1 dp. Okay, moving on to the next question. Question number 3, again, the variables are x and y. However, this is inversely proportional. So read the question very carefully. These questions are really easy. You just have to read the question carefully and follow the instructions. So y is inversely proportional. So immediately you write a fraction and you put 1 in the numerator, and whatever that you see here, you just put it in the denominator. Okay, so this is the relation. You convert this to a formula or equality by putting a k in the numerator, that's all, and make k the subject of the equation because we have to find its value. So you just cross multiply, and I can find k because this condition, which is given to me right here, allows me to find the value of k. I'm just going to go ahead and substitute. X is 0.2 with 1 is 1.2 squared, and that should give me 72, right? K is found to be 72. Again, go back to this formula. Now we have the value of k, which is 72, and complete this formula. What they want is write y in terms of x. So that's it. That's what we have done. And in part B, okay, it's not like it's same as previous question. They just divided it into 2 separate parts. Now they gave us a new condition and they want us to find the value of y. So find y when x is half. That means this is 1.5 squared. If x is half, this becomes 1.5. So 72 divided by 1.5 squared, that is 32, right? As simple as that. Moving on to question number 4, it's quite straightforward. So h is directly, so take a note of that. That means you don't need to make the reciprocal of the second quantity proportional to the square root, not square, so square root of p. Okay, now I know the formula between h and p. So if p is 1.44, so k is basically h over square root of p, and that is 5.4 over square root of 144, which is basically 5.4 over 1.2, and that is 4.5. Okay, so the formula now is complete because k is found. So p is 2.89. So don't forget to put it under the radical. That is 7.65. So that's it. And I believe there is one more question to go. So you can pause the videos, guys, actually, and try to solve this question yourself. Don't wait for my answers. Okay, continue with question number 5. This is inversely. So the relation between x and y is inverse, not direct, proportional to square root of x plus 1. So that is, okay, you don't have to necessarily write this first step. If you want to do it mentally and you want to skip to the formula part, meaning which this one, it is all right. Okay, so you can begin with this part. It shouldn't be a problem. So k is actually y times square root of 1 plus x. Y is given, x is 8, so that gives us 2 times 3, which is 6. So y is 6 over square root of 1 plus x. X is 15, so you can actually substitute that, gives us 1 plus 15 is 16. Square root of 16 is basically 4, and the answer is 3 over 2 or 1.5. So I think this is a good place to stop. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. I see you guys in the future videos. Thank you very much and stay safe.